Morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the headlines. Fate of Paris attack mastermind not clear after raids to gun down suspects ends in bloodshed. French ISO video warns of impending attack on New York. Accidental firing at Prime Minister's residence last night. Constable who fired several rounds of gunfire questioned by the police and IB. Delhi Cabinet clears the lokpal bill, says it is similar to one proposed by Anna Hazare as Chief Minister's office also brought under purview. Bill to be tabled soon in Assembly. For the first time in 6 years, the 17,000 employees of Reserve Bank to go on one-day mass leave, strike to oppose reform measures and seek better retirement benefits. And another face-off over South China Sea. China hits back after US President Barack Obama says it should stop building artificial islands in the region. Top story, French police raids to gun down suspects of Paris attacks ended in bloodshed on Wednesday. The fate of the mastermind, Abdelhamid Abaoud, is still not clear as he's not among the 8 suspects arrested so far during the raids in northern suburb of Saint Denis. Now, police forces are trying to identify the human remains found in the rubble as one woman suspect blew herself up during the shootout. Meanwhile, a fresh Islamic State video has emerged which warns of impending attack on New York soon.
Au moment où je m'exprime devant vous, une opération policière particulièrement périlleuse et lourde vient de s'achever. Elle visait à neutraliser cette nuit
5,000 rounds of bullet shots fired before French police pinned down several suspects of the Paris attack in a massive raid in a building near Saint Denis suburb. Hunt for the mastermind Abdelhamid Abaoud, a Belgian Islamist militant, is still on. He is not among the 8 arrested. Forensic police combed rubbles after 7 hours of siege to figure out if Abdelhamid was killed when a woman suicide bomber blew herself up during the raids. 5 police officers were also injured.
Total, 8 gardes à vue, c'est-à-dire 7 hommes et 1 femme, sont donc actuellement en cours. Actuellement, les identités des personnes interpellées dans l'immeuble ne sont donc pas formellement établies. Cependant, je vous précise que Abaoud et Salah Abdeslam ne font pas partie des gardés à vue. Les investigations se poursuivent donc tout à la fois pour identifier les terroristes tués, ceux qui sont en garde à vue.
The prime suspect and mastermind behind Paris attacks. He is from the Molenbeek area of Brussels, which is also home to other members of terror cell that carried out the massacre. Abdelhamid Abaoud is a 27-year-old Belgian of Moroccan origin. He also reportedly had links to attacks on Paris-bound train when 2 soldiers and a civilian overpowered a gunman. Landmarks in Paris glow in tricolours of the French flag for the 3rd day. France said that they have identified all 129 victims who died in Paris attacks early on Friday. Peace rallies were held in various places in France as they lit candles to remember the victims. Even before the horror of Paris attacks die out, the Islamic State has released a fresh video threatening an attack in New York. The New York police said that there aren't any specific threats for the moment. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Islamic State jihadist group has announced that it has executed a Chinese and a Norwegian hostage. Now, the claim was made on its online English magazine. Dabig magazine printed photos of bodies it said were Chinese hostage Fang Jin Yuhai and Norwegian Ole Johan Grimskarad of Sad. A stamp-like caption overlaid on one of the photos, and it read, "Executed after being abandoned by their nations and organizations." And the Islamic State official magazine on Wednesday also carried a photo of what it is said was the improvised bomb that brought down the Russian airliner over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula last month, killing all 224 people on board. The photo showed a can of a soft drink and what appeared to be a detonator and a switch on a blue background. It is not clear how the device would have worked. The article in the magazine also claimed militants had been able to bypass the security at Sharm el-Sheikh airport and smuggle the bomb onto the plane. It said initially they had planned to target a country of a US-led coalition, but then decided to attack the Russian airliner because of the airstrikes that Moscow had launched in Syria. IS-linked Sinai Peninsula Group says that it carried out the attack, which killed all 224 people on board. Russia has confirmed that it was indeed a bomb that brought down the airliner. Russian President Vladimir Putin has also vowed to find and punish those behind the attack. Nearly all the victims on the flight from Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh to St. Petersburg were Russian tourists. News from Philippines now, where leaders from 21 countries met in Manila for the two-day Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, or the APEC Summit. The meeting's official agenda is focused on trade, business and economic issues, but terrorism, South China Sea dispute and climate change were also the issues in the focus on Wednesday. Leaders from the 20 Asia-Pacific countries met in Manila for the APEC Summit on Wednesday to forge trade unity. But the spotlight turned on to the contest for territory in the South China Sea. Raising the issue, US President Barack Obama called on China to halt its construction on reclaimed islands in the South China Sea. The discussions also centered around the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was agreed to recently by a dozen countries, including the United States. Obama also used the summit meeting to push for his climate change agenda.
No nation is immune to the consequences of a changing climate. But with its many low-lying islands, its coastal regions that are vulnerable to flooding and land loss, few regions have more at stake in meeting this challenge than the Asia-Pacific region.
The US intervention has angered China, which has urged Obama to stop hyping up the South China Sea issue.
中方在南沙群岛部分驻守岛礁上的建设活动，完全是中国主权范围内的事情，合情合理。
Meanwhile, China reassured regional economic and political leaders that its government will keep the world's #2 economy growing. Chinese President Xi Jinping also called for a greater role of the Asia-Pacific region in the world economic growth. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, meanwhile, pointing at the recent Paris attacks, said that terrorism was a global challenge requiring a global response.
坚持推进改革创新，要解决世界经济深层次问题。单纯靠货币刺激政策是不够的。
Террористические атаки, которые только что пережили и Россия, и Франция, затронули весь мир. Распространение терроризма является глобальным вызовом.
APEC, which accounts for 60% of global output and nearly half of world trade, is aiming for a larger free trade area for its 21 economies by 2025. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, back home, a panic spread near Prime Minister Narendra Modi's residence at 7 Racecourse Road last night after several rounds of gunfire were accidentally fired by a constable. The official said the policeman who was on duty at the police control room outside 7 RCR accidentally pressed the trigger while checking his AK-47 assault rifle during a change in duty. Police said that all the shots were fired in the air and that no one was injured in the incident. Following the incident, the weapon was seized and the constable was taken to the nearby police station where he was questioned by the police and intelligence bureau. And in other news, in an attempt to boost the infrastructure sector, the Union Cabinet has approved fast-tracking several rail and road projects. It also cleared some new projects as well. Other decisions included a 10% stake sale in state-owned Coal India Limited was also approved in a move that could fetch around 20,000 crore rupees to the exchequer.
34 stalled road projects got a shot in the arm, with Cabinet asking the ministry to take measures to revive them. In its first meeting after the Bihar election results, Cabinet also approved fast-tracking of the stalled bridge over the river Ganga in Munger in Bihar.
With this approval today of the revised project cost of 2,774 crore rupees for the construction of this rail-cum-road bridge over Ganga at Munger. We believe this project will get a significant boost and kickstart development in Bihar.
10% stake sale in state-owned Coal India Limited was also approved in a move that could fetch around 20,000 crore rupees to the exchequer. Cabinet also gave its nod to setting up of National Resource Facility for Biomedical Research at Genome Valley in Hyderabad, extension of Crime and Criminal Tracking Network and Systems Project, an interest equalization scheme on pre- and post-shipment rupee export credit. Cabinet also approved a hike in relief to migrants from hilly areas of Jammu and new jobs and houses for Kashmiri Pandits.
The Cabinet today resolved that there will be 3,000 additional jobs made available for the Kashmiri Pandit community. There will also be a provision for providing them 6,000 houses to all these people who take up these jobs.
The government also approved a production-linked subsidy of Rs 4.50 per quintal directly to sugarcane farmers in the financial year 2015-16 to help cash-starved sugar mills clear their arrears. The CCA also approved doubling of several railway lines and third and fourth rail lines between Budhapang and Salegaon. Doubling of 110.22 km long Jagdalpur-Koraput, 164 km long Koraput-Singapore and 189 km long Kotwalsa-Koraput railway lines. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Well, the government plans to adopt a comprehensive approach to usher in a second green revolution in the country. Now, part of the strategy is to unveil a new fertilizer policy and also increase the application of agrochemicals.
Faced with failing farm productivity, rising food prices and farmer suicides, the government is desperately looking for another green revolution. As a first step, it plans to make fertilizers available at affordable prices. It also wants to boost use of agrochemicals. At 0.6 kg per hectare, India is one of the lowest consumers of agrochemicals in the world.
If you talk of plant protection, all your insecticides are chemicals. If you talk of mulching, it's chemicals. Your greenhouses are chemical. Your shade nets are chemicals. If you talk about post-harvest management, it's impossible without chemicals because all the handling devices are made of chemicals.
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Agriculture has invited suggestions from stakeholders on agricultural research on topics like geographical conditions, use of fertilizers, impact of climate changes.
वो विषय है और वो उसमें एनजीओ को और अन्य लोगों को भी आमंत्रित किया गया है कि वो अपनी राय वो कृषि समिति के सामने रखे जिससे कि पार्लियामेंट में हम रिपोर्ट पेश कर सकें.
Farmers are demanding new varieties of crops that can withstand climatic fluctuation and an expansion of irrigation facilities to increase productivity. Overall, food grain production in the country declined to 251.12 million tons in 2014-15 from a record 265.04 million tons in 2013-14. At an estimated 90.78 million tons, wheat production is lower by 5.07 million tons than the record 95.85 million tons in 2013-14. Pulses are estimated at 17.38 million tons, lower by 1.87 million tons. The Modi government is betting on a second green revolution as a long-term strategy for agriculture. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Hottest topics.
If you can facilitate the opening up and the expansion of the international border trade, you can add to the economy.
370 धारा जो है वो जम्मू कश्मीर को मुल्क के साथ जोड़े रखती है.
Candid confessions.
The Congress has not been able to communicate.
We have to revive our links with the masses.
World-class healthcare is available to only a handful of people in this country.
Courting controversies.
A lot of leaders today think that they rule by divine right.
Now, media has become manageable.
Watch RSTV engaged personalities to the point. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Thursday, 1:30 and 5:30 p.m.
Indian Railways, the second largest rail network of the world. 19,000 trains crisscross a rail route of 65,000 kilometers, carrying more than 2 crore passengers and 25 lakh ton goods daily. The humongous rail network is manned by 14 lakh employees. You'd be dazed, but the length and breadth of Indian Railways is equivalent to a distance travelling to Moon 4 times a day.
Welcome back. Early this morning, leaders paid tributes to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at Shakti Sthal, commemorating her 98th birth anniversary today. Later in the day, the Congress Youth Wing will hold a national convention. The event, named Maa Tujhe Salam, will be attended by Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Vice President Rahul Gandhi and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. The convention will throw light on Indira Gandhi's work, life and contribution in nation building. And what we are getting here is live visuals from Shakti Sthal. Remember, the leaders are paying rich tributes to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at Shakti Sthal today, and they are commemorating her 98th birth anniversary today. You can see on your television screens Congress President Sonia Gandhi, Vice President Rahul Gandhi and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh at the Shakti Sthal, paying rich tributes to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. You can also see Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari there. The nation is commemorating her 98th birth anniversary today. Later in the day, the Congress Youth Wing will also hold a national convention, and that event is named Maa Tujhe Salam. It will be attended by all the top Congress leaders and other leaders from other parties as well. This convention will throw light on Indira Gandhi's work, her life and contribution in nation building. And more news from the national capital. The Delhi government has cleared the Jan Lokpal bill. Now, this means that the post of the anti-graft ombudsman can be created. The Aam Aadmi Party has claimed that the Jan Lokpal is similar to one proposed during the Anna Hazare movement and that it will be tabled in the assembly soon. The draft bill, among other provisions, also brings the office of the Chief Minister under its purview and is in the lines of the Uttarakhand Lok Bill, which stipulates a time-bound probe. Following the decision, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said that the bill will be tabled in the assembly soon, while his deputy Sisodia said that the Business Advisory Committee will take a call on when to table the bill. The BJP has said that the government's move was basically out of compulsion. The Congress has said that it will oppose any dilution in the original bill.
एक स्ट्रिक्ट लोकपाल जो बहुत करप्शन के प्रति सिर्फ एक स्लोगन की तरह ना हो, करप्शन के खिलाफ और सिर्फ औपचारिकता भरना हो, जिसमें करप्शन के खिलाफ एक्शन भी हो सके, ऐसा लोकपाल बिल लाने की बात की गई थी उस आंदोलन में। और वही अन्ना जी का लोकपाल दिल्ली के लिए दिल्ली जन लोकपाल बिल के नाम से आज कैबिनेट ने पास किया है, उसको हम लेके आएंगे।
Now, 17,000 employees of the Reserve Bank are going on a one-day strike today. The strike is to oppose the various reform measures being taken at the central bank and also seeking better retirement benefits. Now, this is the first time in 6 years that the employees are going on a strike. The one-day mass casual leave is likely to cripple settlement activities at the banks. The unions are also opposing the government's move to take away the public debt management activities from the central bank and curtail its powers on the monetary policy. While the central bank is fearing disruption of settlement activities considering the protest, RTGS facility will remain open. The Finance Ministry is giving final touches to shift government's debt management functions from the RBI to the proposed Public Debt Management Agency or the PDMA. The unions are also seeking better retirement benefits, which has been pending with the government for the past 8 years. The union is opposing the proposed creation of a monetary policy committee that would include members of the government. They see this as a curb on the RBI's decision-making powers.
The government securities in hand, Reserve Bank can control the money market. But if it goes away to any other entity, then Reserve Bank will lose its, its capability of interfering into the market when it is necessary. That is number one. Number two, the monetary policy, which is the exclusive jurisdiction of Reserve Bank of India, is also being taken away from Reserve Bank in the form of a monetary policy committee.
News from Tamil Nadu, where the state is basically limping back to normalcy as heavy rains have abated in almost all districts of the state. The deaths due to flooding and other related incidents, however, climbed to 87. All schools and colleges in Chennai, Kanchipuram and Tiruvallur districts will remain closed till 22nd of November as a precautionary measures. Now, relief operations in the flood-hit areas continues with medical camps being held in the state. In the worst affected Kanchipuram district, life is inching towards a semblance of normalcy, though many areas still remain waterlogged. Remember, Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha held a review meeting on Wednesday and she had announced a sum of 4 lakh rupees each to the next of the kin of those persons who had died due to drowning, wall collapse and electrocution.
देखिए, जहाँ तक बारिश का प्रश्न है तो पिछले 24 घंटों से वहाँ बारिश में काफ़ी कमी आई है। जो बारिश 25-30 सेंटीमीटर हो रही थी और लगभग पूरे तमिलनाडु में हो रही थी, वो अब कहीं-कहीं हो रही है और अमाउंट जो 25 से 30 सेंटीमीटर था उसकी बजाय वो 2 और 4 सेंटीमीटर आ गया है। तो कह सकते हैं कि बारिश का जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन था वो भी काफ़ी कम हुआ है तमिलनाडु में और साथ साथ जो इंटेंसिटी बारिश की थी वो भी उसमें भी बहुत ज़्यादा कमी आई है।
And now let's take a look at what all events are expected to make news through the day in the day ahead. The celebration of National Integration Week or the Qaumi Ekta Week will begin from today. The government has decided to observe Qaumi Ekta Week with a week to fostering and reinforcing the spirit of communal harmony across the country amidst ongoing debate over the issue of intolerance. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has asked the central and state governments to organize events to give the message of communal harmony and national integration. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold an interactive session with 169 IAS officers who have started their career as assistant secretaries. Government officials said the PM was keen for a feedback session with the officers on their understanding of the quality of functioning of his government and citizen outreach. The officers have been assigned important desks related with policy and flagship programs of the concerned ministries and departments. The 7th Pay Commission, headed by Justice A.K. Mathur, will submit its report to Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today. The Commission has recommended increase in remuneration of central government employees as well as pensioners. The total increase will be 22 to 23% of the gross salary and has been suggested by the Commission. Recommendations of the Commission would be implemented from 1st of January next year. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will hold meetings with newly elected party MLAs from Bihar. Rahul Gandhi will seek the views of 27 newly elected MLAs and 5 MLCs on participation in government and related issues. Congress, who is a part of the Grand Alliance, had won 27 seats in the 243-member assembly in Bihar. Gangster Chota Rajan's CBI custody in a fake passport case will end today. CBI interrogated how Rajan procured an Indian passport on the basis of fake documents from Indian mission in Zimbabwe. Rajan, a former aide of Dawood Ibrahim, was brought to India from Bali earlier this month. And let's get you some international news. In Sri Lanka's cabinet approved a proposal to abolish the executive presidency and transfer most of its power to parliament. The new system will transfer more executive powers to the Prime Minister. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena had pledged to abolish the presidential system in order to empower parliament. The president also sought support for a new electoral system, which was approved by the cabinet. He also aims to establish a new constitution. The proposal will be effective from 2020, when the current term of incumbent President Maithripala Sirisena ends. He said, and I quote him now, "It is my expectation to introduce a new electoral system which is responsible to Parliament, abolish executive presidency and transfer the powers of the President to Parliament and independent commissions." Quote, unquote. Some more international news now in World Wrap. The White House has clarified that President Barack Obama would veto a proposal for additional scrutiny of refugees from Syria and Iraq. The Republican lawmakers have been refusing to take in Syrian refugees in wake of Paris attacks and several terror threats from Islamic State. Obama, however, rejected it, saying that it would further create complications in solving the humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, in Honduras, the security officials have arrested 5 Syrian refugees who were traveling on stolen Greek passports. They were allegedly trying to enter the US by land. They flew down from neighboring El Salvador early on Tuesday. Greek diplomats in Honduras confirmed that none of the 5 arrested speak Greek. At least 11 people were killed when 2 female suicide bombers blew themselves up in a busy market in northern Nigeria's Kano city. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack so far, but Islamist militant group Boko Haram has previously targeted Kano and police forces suspect their involvement. President Muhammadu Buhari condemned the terrorist attacks as barbaric. At least 3 people were killed in heavy storms in Washington state on Wednesday. Over 2 lakh homes and buildings were without power after the storm blew down trees and triggered mudslides. The National Weather Service has issued flood warnings as well. And now time for some sporting action in Sports Beat. Top Indian shuttler Kitambi Srikanth and PV Sindhu lost their opening round matches at the Hong Kong Open. Srikanth suffered his 4th men's single first round loss in 5 tournaments after losing to China's Tian Houwei, while unseeded PV Sindhu also went down to top seed Carolina Marin 17-21, 9-21 in just 35 minutes. Rafael Nadal beat Andy Murray in straight sets at the ATP World Tour Finals. The Spaniard won 6-4, 6-1 and qualified for the semi-final after Stan Wawrinka defeated David Ferrer in another match. Wawrinka knocked David Ferrer out of the ATP World Tour Finals with a 7-5, 6-2 win and improved his own chances of making it to the last 4. World governing body FIFA has rejected President Sepp Blatter's and Vice President Michael Platini's appeals against a 90-day ban imposed on them. Both Blatter and Platini were suspended in October over charges of corruption. Blatter is accused of signing a contract unfavorable to FIFA and making a disloyal payment to Platini. World Anti-Doping Agency has said that Russia could fix its doping problems in 9 months and compete at the Rio Olympics. The International Association of Athletics Federation had banned Russia from the sport last week after the release of the stunning report which detailed the alleged unprecedented doping offences. Meanwhile, Russia has set up a committee to eradicate corruption in national sports and ensure its athletes' participation in Rio Olympics. Well, that's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.